This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 8th day of November in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The National Assembly has amended the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act of 2021, removing custodial sentences for the possession and use of small amounts of marijuana. The amendments address the question of the use of narcotics in Guyana, in particular the use of marijuana. Prior to the passage of the piece of legislation last evening, a person in possession of fewer than 16 grams of marijuana could have been charged with trafficking, which holds a prison sentence of between 3 to 5 years and a fine of no less than $30,000. In introducing the amendment bill, Attorney General Anand said sending people to jail for small quantities of marijuana does them more harm than good.
And we thought that it was simply wrong to condemn our young people in particular and our citizens across the board to such a harsh and potentially destructive penalty of 3 to 5 years in prison for the use of small quantities of marijuana.
The Attorney General said the Caribbean is moving in a similar direction to remove custodial sentences for small amounts of marijuana. He said arriving at the current position was not easy, since there were a lot of competing interests during the consultation process.
We are in this bill removing custodial sentence from 1 to 30 grams. Custodial sentence is removed, but it still remains a criminal offense. In respect of 1 to 15 grams, the penalty is counseling, mandatory counseling. And from 15 to 30 grams, the penalty is community service under the Extramural Work Act.
The penalties remain the same for possession of marijuana above 30 grams. Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben and Youth and Culture Minister Charles Ramson Jr. also supported the amendment bill, saying it gives young people a second chance and also an opportunity to make better life decisions through the counseling mechanism. Earlier this year, the government passed another bill under the same act to control the use of designer drugs in Guyana. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
It's November already and soon it will be Christmas, so we at John Lewis Styles are giving away one Amazon Echo show every week in November and every day in December. Stream music and videos. Make video calls and control smart devices. Alarms, reminders and lots more. Every $5,000 spent gives you a chance to win when you shop for clothing, footwear, watches, fragrances, handbags, luggage and accessories. So visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Let's tell you now that the chairman and commissioners of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the general and regional elections of 2020 today made it clear that they played no part in drafting the terms of reference for the inquiry. The declaration came amid allegations that they were involved in drafting the terms of reference. The commission members said at no time were they ever involved in the drafting of the terms of reference, which was published in the official Gazette on the 13th of September. According to the TOR, the commission is required to inquire into the circumstances and events leading up to and the procedures following the elections of 2020. Based on those terms of reference, the commission is placing significant focus on the counting, ascertainment, and tabulation of votes polled and the public declaration of those results by the Region 4 Returning Officer Clement Mingo and other election officers as stipulated by the Representation of the People Act. The Commission is also tasked with determining what attempts, if any, were made to obstruct, frustrate, subvert, and prevent the counting, ascertainment, and tabulation of votes polled and the declaration of the true results of Electoral District Number 4, as prescribed by law. Already, the Commission has heard from at least 5 witnesses: Chief Election Officer Vishnu Prasad, Assistant Commissioner of Police Edgar Thomas, former ANAG Executive Jonathan Yearwood, founder and former executive member of the New Movement Dr. Josh Kanai, and Member of Parliament and leader of the Liberty and Justice Party Lennox Schumann. 2 of those witnesses have accused election officials of attempting to tamper with the tabulation of the statements of poll at the Guyana Elections Commission Command Center at the Ashmans Building. Meanwhile, in a separate statement today, the chairman of the Commission of Inquiry said the commission is cognizant that statements and comments made during the inquiry may adversely affect individuals, and such persons who may have been implicated will be written to appear before the commission. He said as the inquiry proceeds, the secretary of the commission will write to those persons against whom any allegation of impropriety has been made, setting out the details of the allegations and inviting those persons to appear before the commission and providing a fair opportunity to those persons to comment on any adverse comment or allegation made against them. Ahead of the public hearings, which commenced last Friday, the chairman assured that the inquiry will be conducted in a fair, impartial, objective, and professional manner. According to him, in presenting the report to the president, the commission will focus on facts and credible evidence. Some tragic news to report now. A cameraman who was attached to a television station in Essequibo and was undergoing training with Radio Essequibo lost his life this morning as a boat carrying him and a presidential media team flipped over in the Pomeroon River during a visit to the area by President Irvin Ali. The dead man has been identified as Trevor Patrick. He was 48 years old. The boat was reportedly a short distance behind the boat carrying the president when it suddenly flipped over, throwing all of the occupants overboard. The other occupants included an information officer and 2 cameramen attached to the president's office. They were all pulled out of the river by the occupants of another boat that was in the same area at the time. Mr. Patrick was pulled from the river in an unconscious state and rushed to the charity hospital where he was pronounced dead. The other injured persons have since been brought to the city where they were undergoing additional medical checks today. That's according to the head of the presidential PR unit, Suel Finley Williams. President Irfan Ali was in the Lower Pomeroon area on a visit to flood-affected communities. He has since met with the widow of the cameraman who passed away. Turning now to revenue collection and the Auditor General's report. In 2021, tax exemptions granted by the government of Guyana came up to $266.7 billion, representing $11 billion more than what was earned by the Guyana Revenue Authority in revenues for the same year. In the Auditor General's 2021 report on the public accounts of Guyana, it was revealed that the GRA raked in approximately $255 billion in revenue. The report, which was laid in the National Assembly on Monday, said exemptions from duties and taxes totaled $266.7 billion for the period, as compared to $137 billion in 2020. That represents an increase of $129.7 billion, or 94.7% for the corresponding period in tax exemptions. It was explained that the value of revenue foregone for the year 2021 represented 97% of total collections by the Revenue Authority, as compared to 2020, where exemptions represented 62.7% of the actual revenue collected. According to the Audit Office, tax exemptions granted to companies and businesses represented 95.1%, or $235 billion of the total conditional exemptions granted. In defending the exemptions offered, the Guyana Revenue Authority's Commissioner General Godfrey Stacia said that the exemptions were in keeping with the laws of the country. He said the GRA wishes to again reiterate that its role with the exemptions regime is administrative, and hence to administer the various conduits through which concessions are granted. Those concessions are etched in law and are policies and are not discretionary on the part of the Revenue Authority. It was reported further that the Commissioner General has expressed a preference for the removal of the concession regime and to replace it with a system of tax credits as practiced in developed nations. Meanwhile, with regards to the revenues actually collected, the Audit Office said that a sum of $242 billion was estimated to have been collected as revenue for last year. However, some $255 billion was collected and paid over to the Consolidated Fund as of the end of last year. It was noted that the amount paid over when compared to the estimated amount represented a $12.9 billion increase.
Calling all prospective homeowners. The government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Housing and Water, will be rolling out its steel and cement housing subsidy program from Tuesday, October 25, 2022. Applicants must be a citizen of Guyana residing in the country, must be in possession of a title or transport for their house lot, must have an approved building plan and loan approval from a financial institution. Persons with a builder's estimate below $6 million can qualify for 1 sling of cement, 80 lengths of half-inch steel rods, and 63 3/8-inch rods. Those with builders' estimate ranging from $6 million to $25 million can qualify for 2 slings of cement. Application forms can be uplifted from the Ministry's Brickdam Main Office, Georgetown, and all regional housing offices from Tuesday, October 25, 2022. For more information and online applications, visit our website at chpa.gov.gy.
Census takers are visiting communities across Guyana and collecting information from every household. This information will help the government to plan better for our country's development. All the information shared will be treated as strictly confidential, and everyone is asked to participate. No one should be alarmed about any question asked, because the answers provided will help to improve living standards, decrease community crime rates, and improve access to housing and healthcare, among other benefits.
The census gives us the tool to identify some of these important gaps that exist across communities, within communities, and across regions, so that we can have targeted intervention.
Yeah, we counting way from region 1 to region 10, the whole country. Yeah, we counting way.
While describing road accidents as a chronic problem in the country, Attorney General Anil Nandlao said the government had no option but to put stricter laws in place to prevent drunk driving, one of the leading causes of accidents and deaths on the country's roadways. The National Assembly on Monday passed a number of amendments to the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act and the Intoxicating Liquor License Act. New penalties range from harsher fines to imprisonment, suspension, or being barred from holding a driver's license for the offense of causing death by reckless or dangerous driving and driving under the influence of alcohol.
Motor manslaughter is a completely new concept in our jurisprudence, though it exists in North America. A person who causes the death of another person while driving a motor vehicle under the influence of a drink or drug shall be guilty of motor manslaughter. This is an indictable offense which carries a penalty of a term of imprisonment not less than 10 years. Not less than 10 years. And that is the seriousness that the legislation views when death results because of drunken driving.
The Attorney General said the government has heard the cries of the nation and has responded with measures that will prevent persons from drinking and driving.
A person convicted under this new section shall be disqualified from holding or obtaining a license for 3 years. So a person who is convicted either of motor manslaughter or of causing grievous bodily harm under this section shall be disqualified. So there's no power here, there's no discretion here. Disqualification is part of the sentence from holding or obtaining a license for a period of 3 years. In the event that the person is convicted again for a like offense, the person shall be permanently disqualified from holding or obtaining a license.
If a person is convicted for a second time with the same offense, then that person shall be permanently disqualified from holding or obtaining a driver's license. Importantly, if a person is sober when the accident occurs, the new law will not apply to them. The government amended the Intoxicating Liquor Licensing Act with provisions that prohibit drunkenness on premises that are licensed to sell alcohol. The new subsection provides that a license holder shall not permit any drunkenness on his premises, nor sell, give, or barter, or allow another person to sell, give, or barter intoxicating liquor to a drunken person within the premises. Additionally, the license holder is mandated to not sell, give, or barter intoxicating liquor to a person he knows is likely to leave the premises by driving a motor vehicle, unless a designated driver is identified. As the Guyana Supplier Forum opened today at the Lenora Stadium, Prime Minister Mark Phillips said partnerships with regional and international companies could help raise the standards of local businesses in their quest to effectively capitalize on the country's budding oil and gas sector.
We have continually seen the successes of joint ventures between foreign companies and locals in developing local capabilities to honor the demands of various parts of the supply chain. This forum could also be a stepping stone for forming such partnerships.
The Prime Minister said one of the main advantages of the emerging sector is that its operations are at an international standard with stringent and high-level operating requirements.
As such, working within this industry, whether as a partner or an employee, calls for requirements that will ensure our local businesses rise to that level as well. So forums such as these create a platform for people to find out what they need and how they can achieve those requirements.
And dubbing Region 3 the fastest developing region in the country, Prime Minister Philip said the decision to hold a supplier forum there is a show of confidence in the capabilities of potential suppliers in the district. Further, he said it is also a commitment to ensuring that Guyanese from various parts of the country can benefit from potential businesses and networking opportunities with the growing oil sector. For his part, the chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Paul Chang, said a supplier forum which was organized by the ExxonMobil company in collaboration with the Center for Local Business Development provides an opportunity for Guyanese suppliers to receive up-to-date information on the procurement process.
It is time that we expand those 40 categories. The capacity and skills of the Guyanese and their businesses are expanded. We believe that there is no substitute for working together. We need to stop seeing each other as competitors, but rather as partners, and use the synergies of the bond to achieve even greater success. Our economy being the fastest growing in the world, many opportunities are there for us as Guyanese to benefit from.
Meanwhile, the director of the Local Content Secretariat, Martin Patap, said 10 months into operation, the Secretariat is making significant strides, with more than 350 companies registered under the Local Content Act. Based on preliminary assessments, local content earnings for this year have so far surpassed $129 billion. A local content certificate issued to a Guyanese national or Guyanese company paves the way for that person or company to receive preferential treatment in the award of contracts by the oil companies and their subcontractors. U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch, the President of ExxonMobil Guyana, Alistair Rutledge, and the Director of the Center for Local Business Development, Dr. Natasha Gaskin-Peters, were among the other officials present at the opening of the event this morning.
We counting we from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
We've just completed our census interview. It's quite a simple process. Whenever the team comes to your home, kindly cooperate and get the interview done, because it's also important for the information to be available to us as a government to plan and implement our programs and projects for the development of Guyana, a development that you will benefit from.
We counting we from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
Rooms and more, Republic, a brand new rug on the floor. Come to Republic, come to Republic. Whatever you need, you got it. Come to and get your mortgage. Live the dream with Republic.
95 to 100% financing, 50% waiver of negotiation fees, plus one lucky person gets their mortgage paid in full. Turn someday into today. Talk to Republic Bank about your low-cost mortgage today.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, in the aftermath of Sunday's heavy rainfall that triggered devastating flooding in the north of St. Lucia, the government has been mobilizing regional and international assistance. The disclosure came from the Prime Minister Philippe J. Pierre at a news conference on Monday. The Prime Minister said National Emergency Management Organization was in contact with the regional Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA. He said the organization has been in touch with SEDEMA and other regional and international disaster response agencies with a view to mobilizing assistance for the affected communities across St. Lucia. At the same time, the Prime Minister said that responders were working around the clock to conduct a damage assessment, clear roads and drains, and provide relief to affected individuals. He also disclosed that teams were assessing the impact on the agriculture sector across St. Lucia. The government of Belize says it will need at least $20 million to assist with the rebuilding of storm-ravaged communities in the Belize district following the passage of Hurricane Lisa last week. The Prime Minister John Brasano, accompanied by the Foreign Minister and the National Emergency Management Organization coordinator, flew over the areas devastated by the hurricane. The Prime Minister said that the initial numbers that the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing has come up with is approximately $20 million, which would include literally the rebuilding of the highway from the city to the Hullover Bridge. The Prime Minister also said a majority of the structures that were damaged during the passage of the hurricane were homes that were constructed with plywood. He said the plan going forward is to rebuild using concrete and other materials that can withstand the stresses of gale-force winds. And finally tonight, international news. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has accused China of attempting to interfere in his country's elections. Mr. Trudeau accused Beijing of playing aggressive games with democracies and of targeting Canadian institutions. It comes as local media report that Canadian intelligence identified a clandestine network of Beijing-backed candidates at the recent elections. At least 11 candidates were supported by China in the 2019 federal elections, officials have told the Prime Minister. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman said it has no interest in Canada's internal affairs. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.